How long has it been since your ego has split off from your soul? How long has it been where your ego has just driven everything and you've disconnected from something that is a part of you, that completes you? You see, for me, I have lived a good portion of my life with my soul intact. But there was a period of time when I went through my identity loss that I've severed it. It split off, and I was just hanging out in the realm of ego. Now, what is the issue with it? What is the concern about it? You see, the ego and soul make you into this energetic force of power that we have yet to see what is its limits. What can it make you into? What are the things you can tap into? Why do we do this, though? Why is it we find so difficult to integrate these two worlds together? In our unconscious mind is this beautiful yet destructive place. It carries our emotions, memories, traumas, pains and pleasures and everything. When we cannot contend with what is going on beneath, the memories are too brutal, the emotions are too potent, we disconnect and we hang out in the ego. We then just go day to day through impulse and feeling, through touch, through sound, sight. Often not even that, often even a disassociated self. You're there, but you're not really there. Now the question is, how do we reconnect these two worlds together? Because by connecting these two worlds together, your sense of purpose, your sense of meaning will fall right into your lap. And you're going to wonder how you never thought of this before. How do we do this? Well, the first and foremost important thing to understand is that depending on the severity of the pains you're feeling with will determine what course of action we take first. So for example, let's say you are experiencing a trauma in your life that is intense, potent, strong. In fact, it's at a point where you've been having to separate yourself from it, to move on with your life. If you were to tackle it head on right now, it might be too much. It might be something that we do not want to contend with right now, because the minute we even try to entertain the thought, we get into a heightened state of fight, flight, freeze response. The arousal state is too high. And so comes the practice now of grounding work. Work that entails you to bring yourself into the present moment, because what happens oftentimes, or I should say what happens in a heightened state of fight, flight, freeze, is that the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that allows you to make decisions, rationalize, give yourself some purpose and aim, is not working correctly. It is almost shut off. And the amygdala that sits in the center, that is your smoke detector that gives you an alarm essentially. So imagine your house is, I always use this example, imagine your house is on fire. You don't see it, but let's say you start to smell it. That fires off the alarm, your prefrontal cortex kicks in, tries to find the spot in the house where it's on fire, and then you can decide to do what you need to do, run away, or maybe put the fire out if it's not big enough. And when you're under an intense distress, that amygdala is always active. You're essentially in a permanent state of survival, of fear, of flight. And so there is no rationalizing right now. We can't reason and say, well, look, you're not in that memory anymore. You are here in the present day in your room where it's safe. It's hard to put those things together, and it's frustrating to the individual. They know what's going on. They can't help themselves. And so the first thing we have to do is always remember, when you approach these things, curiosity, adventure, compassion, love, with a firm hand, when it comes to anything with self-discovery, anything with self-work. Because the minute you criticize, shame, judge, neglect, reject, it's just going to shut this thing down, and you're not going to move forward anymore. So we have to change the approach from the absolute bottom up. The next thing, we want to work towards bringing ourselves, if we get into that state of peak high intensity emotion, we want to learn how to regulate ourselves back down to neutral. There's many ways you can do that. The first thing you do is deep breath work. Find yourself a private space, sit, and allow yourself to sit in those thoughts for a little bit. And when you start to feel them bubble up and come in, practice the art of breathing deep inhales, slow exhales. Feel everything that's going on. The idea is you want to bring yourself as much into the present. So feel the belly expand. Feel the belly contract. Feel the sensation in your fingertips. Feel the sensation in your head. Everything as much as possible. And as you start to practice, you'll notice your breathing and your control and your motions start to slowly regulate. It may take time. It could take a minute. It could take 2 minutes. Don't put a limit on it. Just ride the wave. Remind yourself it's safe. Remind yourself it's okay. Even if you couldn't do it today, it's totally fine. You always want to tackle it micro to macro. Small changes lead to big changes. You can also do it through grounding touch. You can close your eyes, and if you had someone there who can help you, it'd be even better. But if you want to do it yourself, you can get a bunch of items in front of you, different shapes, sizes, textures. Close your eyes, grab one, and describe to yourself what the feeling is. What does this feel like? What's the texture like? Is it smooth, soft, heavy, light? What color do you think it is? Repeat the process multiple times. And what you're starting to do is slowly activating and flexing that prefrontal cortex, allowing yourself to be more and more in the moment, grounding yourself instead of disassociating, fragmenting when we try to relive those experiences and contend with them. Now, if yours isn't as intense and you feel ready, you want to go head on, now is a time where you could do some shadow work. And the shadow work, put simply, it's hard to do in one video, even in multiple videos, but simplest way I can describe it is anything that is sitting below the unconscious mind, we want to pull up and bring forward and observe for all that it is. Its beauty, its ugliness, its tragedy, its anger, everything. Because there's parts of you. And the idea towards integration is to bring in all aspects of you, not just the aspects you like and you admire, which are great to have. But you want to also understand the weaknesses that you have. The drawbacks, the anger, maybe the resentment, the jealousy. We cannot ignore and suppress and turn it into repression, which then no longer is consciously aware to. Because understand that the complex that sits below the conscious mind, it is as if a personality, a person that exists within you that will filter out the world. And then the ego can only see that filter. And it's warped. It's not what it really is. But you will believe it's what it is. Because what you believe is what you see. And then what you see is what you will believe. And so that's why if you've severed yourself from the ego, we have no idea what's going on below the surface. We don't know why we're feeling certain feelings. We don't know why we're impulsive about certain moments. Why certain people upset us. Why we fall victim to people's manipulation. We won't have any idea, and we'll feel lost, and we'll feel chaotic and frustrated with ourselves. That is why it's the integration of those two worlds. The unconscious becomes conscious as much as possible. And it will shift, it will move. And even if you've been practicing this for a little while, you may feel discouraged because at times you're not getting it. You've lost grip of it. You've lost that magic. And that's okay. It's totally okay. It's not meant to be there permanently. It'll come and go. But as long as you stay the course, that's why I call ego soul integration lifestyle. If it's something you do regularly, every day, for weeks and months, you'll get to know its touch more and more and more. And then we evolve into the next stage of your self-discovery, where I have one of my clients right now who's actually getting into touch with it slightly, is when you get these channels in alignment, the past, which is your shadow, the present, which is today, and the future, which is your vision for your life. When you get all these three in alignment, in harmony, unclogged, you connect with something foreign. You connect with something, what feels to the individual, divine, magical. It's something really special. And I know you listening to this, you know what I mean when I say that. And I know when we watch videos and people chalk it up to just mumbo jumbo and they criticize it, I'm under the firm belief that everyone at some point can feel that God's touch, the universe's touch. Moments where you feel you can have intuition about people, or a sense of what's going to happen tomorrow, or when you look at sequence of events in your life, they feel organized in a way that has lined up for the next step, and you had no part to play in that. It just sort of fell into your hands like that. And it's a mixture of good and bad and tragedy and beauty, but they all play a role, and you've seen it. Now, can you ignore it long enough to where you can't even see the simplest signs? Yes, absolutely. But if you're watching this, you don't want that to happen. You want to reconnect. You want to transition from the young psychology, the child psychology, to the adult psychology, where you connect with ego, soul, and spirit, something magical, something outside of you. If that's something you want in a deeper way, I would love for you to join my community. If you click that button below, it'll send you over to my website. Sign up to my monthly newsletter. I'm also going to send you my 3-step identity rebuilding guide. It's a toolkit to help you navigate through identity loss and in ego death in order for us to move towards an integrated lifestyle. And the newsletter that I send out every month is all about rebuilding purpose, rediscovering who you truly are. And I use archetypal language, symbolisms, but also grounding it in practical work, strategies that you can do every single day. It's the mixture and the union of these two things, the spiritual and the practical life strategies and tactics, that you can put on paper and see and feel and experience. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.